Hello guys, I am here at Ashes Weekend from Covenant Tulsa with the one and only Rodney from Watch It Played. Rodney, it's great to have you here, man.
It's great to be here.
I'm sure a lot of you guys watching in there have actually learned about Ashes through Rodney's videos, and what we're going to do here is a kind of quick rundown of the game for those of you that have 10 to 15 minutes to just kind of see what Ashes is all about. Once you're done here, if you like what you see, go over to Rodney's channel, Watch It Played, and catch the entire version of how this game actually works. So Rodney, let's kick it off here, man, and just talk about the basic phase structure of Ashes. How does this game play out during a turn?
Sounds good. Okay, so we sort of set the table as if we're already started playing, right? We've got a few things on the board already, and we're going to pretend it's a new round of play, right?
Right.
So the very first thing that we do is going to roll our dice.
All right, so these dice.
Yeah, these are like the resources in the game, right? The stuff that you're going to be able to spend to get those cards out of your hand that you need, right?
All right, so these are like these are like schools of magic.
Right, there's 4 different schools of magic right now. I'm rolling them up, and each of the die have 3 different faces on them, right? So it's kind of nice to organize them based on that in front of yourself, so you and your opponent can both see kind of what you have. There are more powerful sides. There's kind of the basic sides, which is the lowest, and there's like a mid-range. And the different cards that you have in your hand, and in front of you, you can pay for them with these different dice.
All right, so we roll it off, and we kind of have a random allotment of resources to start the turn, right? And we have 10 dice, and then some of them are going to be stronger symbols and mid-grade symbols, and then some of the most basic symbols, which are literally called basic symbols, right? All right, so we've got that.
Yeah.
Now what happens?
Well, now, since we're in the middle of the game here, right? On my hand left over, I only have 2 cards in my hand. Now I can decide if I want, I can chuck some of these cards out. So I'm going to be drawing back up to 5, right? So maybe I'm thinking, I don't really want this right now, so I'm going to get rid of it. I actually like what I have, so I'm just going to drop to 5. I don't know about you, but I'm just going to drop. But if you want to, you could dump something here.
I'm going to go ahead and discard 1. Okay. I don't need this.
Ooh.
I'm going to go ahead and discard that.
Some goodies. I want to mention one thing, though, about Ashes, which is kind of unique, is when you are first playing and you're sitting down with your opponent, you don't just draw a random 5. Like, you take from the deck the 5 cards that you want to start with, right? So
that's
an
incredible thing, right?
It is,
so
really.
When you first sit down, your very first turn of this game, you literally can pull 1 copy of 5 different cards in your deck
They all have
and
to be
start
unique.
with them.
Yeah, but
it's incredible.
Yeah, so you're not going to be stuck there like, this hand's no good, I want a mulligan or something. No, you decided what you were going to start with, and you can get your engine going right off the bat. Okay, so once everyone's drawn up their full hand size, then it's time to enter the player turns phase. So starting with the first player, I have the awesome Team Covenant custom Ashes token here for first player.
Definitely important to note that the tokens that you see here are from our Ashes token set, which is available on our website. The base tokens are cardboard, also beautiful, but these are the ones that we've made, and we're going to use them because we like the way that they look. They're very, very pretty.
We're classing things up around here.
That's right.
So I got the first player too. I'm going to go first, and I can take a main action and a side action. I can do them in any order. I have to take a main action. I can skip the side action if I want. And then Steve will be able to go, and we'll go back and forth like that until both of us pass consecutively, all right?
And now, Rodney, what I've found is that a lot of times that basically is whenever you run out of dice.
Yes.
Right? So like there's a lot of tempo mechanics going on. Like I'm going to try to like not show my hand and slowly kind of like try to run you out of dice before I am, and then try to make my big moves.
Right, because it's interesting. When you pass, you're not out. Only the other person also passes. So I might pass just because I want you to do something first.
Yeah.
And so, like you said, I'm controlling that tempo, right?
It's beautiful.
And so then you have to do your thing, then I can react to it, right?
Right.
So one of the main actions that you're going to take is playing cards from your hand. And the cards actually that you play are going to have on them the symbol that shows the main action symbol. So I know if I want to play this, I'm going to have to use my main action to do so. Right. So this is an ally, and I'm just going to drop it into the field here. And it has an effect on it called Ambush 2 that says when this unit comes into play, I can inflict 2 damage on a target unit or Phoenixborn.
Oh,
Now the object of this game is to reduce your opponent's Phoenixborn down to 0. Okay.
Wicked.
So I'm gonna hit your face here with this one. All right. I'm
right
gonna
here
go
on
right
the
for the
Phoenixborn.
Yeah.
All right. So I take 2 damage to my Phoenixborn.
Right.
And now I have a health stat here of 16, and you have a health stat over there of 20.
Right. So even the Phoenixborn themselves are unique, right? Their health levels, how many units they can have on the battlefield. So for example, I just dropped this Stormwind Sniper down here.
Yeah.
And my Noah Red Moon says that I can have on the battlefield a maximum of 6 units, right? So I filled up 2 of my slots because I already had a Masked Wolf there. Right?
And
so something else I have to control.
Important to note, Aerodel, battlefield of 8.
8, right?
He has a lot of things out on the board.
So your health is a little lower, but your ability to inflict damage with units potentially a lot higher.
Absolutely.
Right? So that was my main action. Now, as a side action, there will also be some cards in your hand or abilities in front of you that will show the side action symbol, and that just reminds you, okay, this is a side action thing I can do.
That nice little diamond symbol.
Yeah, so there's a diamond symbol right here on my ready spell. Okay, it says summon masked wolf. So I can exhaust this. There's a symbol for exhausting, and then the dice that I have to spend. So I'm going to spend a die that matches this symbol here, along with a basic die, and then I'm going to exhaust this. So I'll take an exhaustion token. And exhausting is just a way of knowing this card's been used and it can't be used again during this round while it's exhausted.
Right.
And it lets me summon a masked wolf. Now this is not something that comes from my hand. In Ashes, you have a separate deck with a different colored back of these conjurations that you can bring into play, right? So I'm going to go in here, I just find Masked Wolf.
And this is one of the key parts of this game.
It really is, yeah.
The conjurations, that deck stays true the entire game. As conjurations leave play, they go back to the deck. When they come into play, they come out of that deck. So you're not clogging up your draw deck with the things that you're ultimately going to cast, right?
Yeah, and it means you always have access. As long as you have a ready spell in front of you, every round I know I can bring out one more of these, right?
Yeah.
So I'm not like, oh no, I don't have anything to attack with this turn. You always have access to that, right?
Absolutely.
So that's really, and that's both a main action and a side action for me. So I'm done.
All right, so now it comes over to me.
You.
And then I can choose to do something. So I want to look at what attacking looks like here.
Oh, let's do that. Yeah, great.
So I've got a Butterfly Monk and a Blue Jaguar, very scary units here. They look terrifying as compared to your Stormwind Sniper and your Pack of Wolves. But I want to attack you, and I need to know, so can I attack your individual units? Can I only attack your Phoenixborn? How does attacking work?
Right, so when you want to attack, you are going to be picking one target, right? Now you can choose to go right for Noah, my Phoenixborn, or you can pick a unit that's particularly pesky and try to go after that. Now you can assign as many units as you want to that attack, but they all have to focus on one target.
Okay,
right?
so I could send both of these guys at your Stormwind Sniper, or
Right.
at Noah, or to Mass Wolf.
Yeah, exactly.
Or I could send one,
Right.
and then maybe hold this one back for defense.
Maybe you want
or
this as
something.
a defender later, exactly.
Well, let's do that. So I'm going to attack with the Blue Jaguar on your Stormwind Sniper.
All right, perfect. So these, if we look at, they each have an attack value, right, and a life value. And when you attack, I have to decide whether or not I want to just simply take that damage or I want to hit you back.
Okay.
Because when you attack, you're going to exhaust this unit. You won't be able to defend with it later. If I choose to counter your attack, it means I'm going to be hitting you, but I'm also exhausting my own unit, right? So now this won't be available for me to use later either. But you're doing 2 damage, which is going to kill me.
Yeah.
So I think I will hit you back, all right?
Okay.
So I'm going to hit you back for 2 damage as well, which is also going to defeat yours.
So this is going to happen simultaneously. We're both going to
So we're
exhaust
both
to
really
attack.
exhausted. Then our damage is going to resolve here, right?
All
You're
right.
doing 2 attack. I only have a life value of 1. It's definitely gone. And I have 2.
To my 2.
Right.
And all right, so these
They're
guys
gone.
go, and they go back to the Conjuration pile, but yours is an ally, so it actually gets
Right.
discarded.
This came from my hand. This is going away permanently into my discard pile. Whereas
that-
you can conjure that Blue Jaguar later on if you want, right?
Right, so allies, a lot of times, a little bit more interesting, a little bit more unique abilities, but you don't have immediate access to them like you would from a Conjuration.
Right.
So a little bit more liability there in the
And if I
allies.
really wanted to keep that ally on the board, your Phoenixborn can step in and always defend for a unit. So if I had wanted to, I could say Noah's going to step in and block.
Let's look at what that looks like. So let me.
Yeah, let's do it. Bring it back here if you want. And so let's say I really wanted to keep this. It's got an attack of 2, right? So you're exhausting, right, to attack. And I say, okay, Noah's going to step in. And that simply means you're going to do the 2 attack to Noah. Noah does not hit back. Noah doesn't have an attack value.
Right.
I'm soaking up that damage, right? It's kind of an act of nobility
Yeah,
here,
he's
right?
standing in front, so he would take his 2 damage,
Right.
and then he would go back,
Right.
we would come back, and
Exactly.
we would call it good.
Now I still have this Storm and Sniper to attack you later, to block with, and so on, right?
Well, let's just assume that that's what happened.
Okay,
I like
yeah.
that. I like
Okay,
that
you like
result
that better? I don't blame you.
All right, now does it take a main action to attack?
Yeah, that's a main action. That's
Okay,
one.
so
So
I-
one of the main actions is playing cards from your hand with that main action symbol or doing effects. Another one is to attack.
So now I have a side action.
Yes, you do.
And what I'm interested in is sometimes I roll these dice and I want to cast spells. Like, for instance, let's say I have this spell, it requires a frog, right?
Right.
And I happen to have a frog here, but sometimes I end up in a situation like this and now I can't cast that spell.
Yeah, so this is the whole game. Your resources are rolling dice. Well, what if the dice don't roll the way you want them to? Are you in trouble? Maybe, but you can get yourself out of that trouble, right?
All right, so let's talk about that. I think it's an ability called Meditate.
Right. This is a meditate action you can use to discard any number of cards from any combination of either your hand, this area known as your spell board. These are cards that have the ready spell on them, or you can just blindly discard from the top of your deck. And for each one of these that you get rid of, you can change any dice, that number of dice, to whatever side you want.
All right, so I'm gonna blow this up. I'm gonna discard 1 from my hand.
Right?
Let's do this one, and 2 from my deck,
Okay.
just randomly.
I know. And
They could have been on the bottom, you know?
Yeah.
They could have been on the bottom.
That blind draw can be like, you're just flipping them. I hope this isn't too good, you know, this is worth it.
And I will change 2 to the frog, and then let's do one of these to a wolf.
Right.
That seems fine, right? Now, generally, I would want to probably take my basics, because I can change them to any side, right?
Exactly.
So I'm going to flip these leaves back to what they were, and I'm going to move these basics up to frogs.
Much smarter. Because the highest level die value can be used to pay for the lower levels as well, right? So if you have to give the highest tier, which these ones are, then you can pay for the lower leaf level or basic level if you need to, right? This gives you the most options, for sure.
And so a lot of times, I think it's important that you said side actions can happen either before the main action or after the main action.
Right. Maybe you need to set up the dice for what you want to do. You can do that first.
Perfect.
Exactly.
All right, so I've taken a main action and a side action, and we'll pass it back over to you.
Sure. Maybe let's show one more thing here. I'll do, okay, I just saw what you did there to get some dice. I'm thinking that you need those dice, right?
Yeah, maybe.
So one of the other side actions that you can do is to use your dice power. The dice themselves have their own unique special abilities and powers, right? So not only do you build your deck, you also build your dice pool of 10 dice, but they can be in any combination of colors that you want. Usually ones that would support what you're going to play, right? But each different school has its own ability, and those are written on the dice cards that we're using here,
Excellent,
right?
yeah, right.
So I'm going to use, now, I'm going to cheat a little bit if you don't mind for the sake of this example.
Yeah,
is that all right?
for me.
Okay, so I'm going to pretend that I had rolled this, which is on its highest level. This is an illusion die, all right? And it has a die ability as a side action. I can move it, I can spend this, I'm exhausting it, and now I can pick one of your dice, and I can exhaust one of them.
Oh, really?
Right? Because I don't like what you're building up over here.
So this is what illusion magic is all about. You're just kind of tricking me and taking my magic abilities away. Okay. So which one would you like to move?
I'm going to get rid of one of these pesky frog nature dice. So
all right, we'll move it over there. It's spent. It's out of there.
Okay. That's a side action.
And that's impressive. So at any point, the illusionist over there can take one of my, and sometimes I might have 3 dice left, and I just got one to the big side that I need, and then you can just move it right over, right?
And like this, the ceremonial dice can allow you its abilities to bring things back from your discard pile. Now you will take damage for doing that, but if you really need that card, it's another way of grabbing it back.
Classic ceremony,
yeah,
right?
Exactly. So that would be my side. And then a main action, let's just show one other quick thing about attack. Because we've gone over the main actions, which are to play a card, to pass, or to attack units, right? I just want to show one more thing here. Let's say I wanted to come after your blue jaguar, this pesky blue jaguar, right? So if I push in here to attack, right, with my masked wolf, because I'm going to do an attack of 2, you only have a life of 2, I know it will be defeated.
Seems good.
Right?
Yeah.
You have the option, normally, you can only block with your Phoenixborn.
Okay, I can bring her in.
Right, but some of these units have the ability, they called unit guard, so they can guard units. So you could shift this one instead up here, right? So now your butterfly monk is going to come in and protect.
Excellent.
And now, okay, this damage is going to happen. I'm going to attack for 2. It's going to kill you. You're going to hit back for 1, which is also going to kill me. But you have a special ability here called Last Blessing, which as this dies, you can remove a wound from your Phoenixborn.
Well, all right.
So, what a brilliant move you just made.
Yeah, so the Butterfly Monk can step in front of the attack here, and this is a special ability that's on certain units called Unit Guard.
Right.
And that allows them to block for other units, which is a very important function of this game, because whenever you have a system that allows units to attack other units directly, that gives me the ability to remove the biggest threats to me immediately.
Right.
And you can counter that by having things that can guard your units over on your side of the board to keep you safe and to make sure that what you want to do maintains
right,
board
whatever
position.
plans I'm working on here, right? It might keep things together for me a little longer, right?
Beautiful. All right, so let's assume that you know, we've exhausted some dice.
Yes.
We've played out some things. Somehow the board has not changed too much.
Right.
Maybe we got some damage.
We're
here.
the worst players ever. Okay.
All right, so then next step is you pass your main action, right?
Right. Let's say I pass as my main action.
And now I can either play, and if I play, then you can play again next turn.
I can keep going, right.
But if I pass, then the round ends. So let's go ahead and say you pass, and then I pass my main action.
Okay.
What do we do now?
So the action phase is over. Now the first thing, we go into a recovery phase. The first thing you do is you recover units. Now, I don't have any units here. I have a unit with recovery, but let's see if I can. Do you have any units with recovery?
I do. Let's say this Butterfly Monk has a couple of health.
So this unit here with recovery, the first thing you do is those units are going to heal themselves a little bit, right? During this sort of down period, this one's going to recover 1. So you can remove up to 1 damage from it, right? And that's just taken off.
So the first thing that you do is you look at all your units and take off health equal to their recover value. Take off wounds.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now we also know that when you're using some of these cards, as we showed, they will exhaust, right? They get these exhaust tokens. You have one on your Blue Jaguar, I have one here on a Ready Spell. You can take one exhaustion token off of every card on your board.
Everything, okay.
These tokens are really important because aside from like maybe rotating the card to show exhaustion like you might find in other games, you can actually stack multiple exhaustion tokens on a player's cards. Maybe have an effect that stack 2 or 3 on here. You only get to remove one, that means for the next round it's still exhausted, right?
So yeah, you can lock things down for a very long time.
Right. So the exhaustion tokens are removed, and now it's time to exhaust dice. So if you have any dice here that you didn't use last turn, you can decide, I'm going to exhaust them. I didn't use them. Like I have a basic one here. That's not very good. I'm going to exhaust it.
You may as well try again, right?
Exactly.
So I've got a wolf over here, and I'm going to keep that.
That's a good. Yeah, that's a good.
Fine
That's
with
the
me.
best
I'm going to keep
side,
that.
right?
And
so,
you're going to plug yours over.
And then we've looped right back around because now it's the start of a new round where again we would roll our dice, right? Again, and then after you organize those. Oh, and the first player token, of course, would pass as well, right? So now you'll get to go first in this round. I can throw any number of cards out of my hand again. Maybe I chuck a couple, draw back up to 5, and we're right back at it again, right? So
discard one of these guys, draw 2, and now we go. I start main action, side action, main action, side action, main action, side
just
action.
like that, right? Very fluid back and forth.
And important to note, you don't have to use those side actions.
Right. You can
That's
skip
something
the side
that
action.
tripped me up early on. Is like if I couldn't use a side action, I felt like I had to pass the turn or something. But I can not use one, and the next turn maybe I'll use one, and the next turn I won't. So the only real consideration for turns is the main action.
Right.
Once both players have passed that, the whole thing is done.
That's right. Do you want to talk a little bit about the decks themselves, like how they're put together?
Now, you guys should know this, so this is very important. Rodney is about to play in a big Ashes tournament. This is probably the biggest that has happened in the world so far.
Yeah.
Here at Ashes Week in Tulsa. And
Talk about pressure.
You came in and you said, well, I'll just hang out and kind of like feel out the community, and then everybody said, Rodney, you have to play in this tournament. And so he has been thrown into the throes of deck building for Ashes and playtesting over this last day on Friday. So tell us, what is it like to build a deck? What should we be thinking about, and how does that whole process work?
Well, first thing I'll tell you about is if you were to pick up the base game of this, right, you're going to get 6 different Phoenixborn, and all of the cards necessary to create 6 full tournament-ready starter decks for all of those.
Right here they are.
Yeah, exactly.
Very good. And you'll notice everything that has basically a highlight is the card that you open within your hand.
That's the suggestion for your first 5 that you start with.
5 highlighted cards. It's right there. You got it.
So if you're not really interested in the deck building, if you find that intimidating, then right at the base game, you can build 6 decks, super simple. Tells you what dice to use, the first 5 and everything else.
Absolutely.
Now, once you're done with that and you're ready to start tinkering, you can do that.
Yeah.
One of the things that the limitations are, there's going to be 30 cards in your deck. Now, this does not count those special conjurations that we talked about, right? That you can also bring into play. But you're going to have 30 cards in your deck, along with your Phoenixborn, right?
Yep.
And you can have at most 3 copies of each card.
Right.
You can have less than them, but at most you can have 3 copies. And that's something else to mention is that in the base game, every card has all 3 copies in it, right? So you don't have to worry about buying 2 base sets to get everything that's in there. And then the only other real restriction is that each Phoenixborn has a set of 3 cards that are unique to it. Okay,
Yeah.
and down in the corner, it's going to show that Phoenixborn's face and symbol.
For instance,
there you
here
go.
on Aerodel. So you see her portrait there. That means that she must take these Blue Jaguars, right?
And these Blue Jaguars are great. I'd love to have them in my deck, but I can't put them in there. That's important to know because when I was building my deck to come here, I tried to do that. So I actually came here with a tournament illegal deck because I was so excited about having them in there, but you can't do that, right?
You can't do that. Only Aerodel gets these Blue
Jaguars.
Jaguars.
There's a lot of flexibility outside of that because there's really only this section of cards here for Aerodel. Everything else that she has can be used by other Phoenixborns in decks, right?
Yep.
So. And so then beyond that, those are really the main restrictions.
And then you've got to figure out what dice to use.
So again, you can have 10, and typically you will pick the dice from schools that are the cost that you'll find on the deck that you've built. Right? You want something that's going to power that. But we've got 5 and 5 of each. You might not do that. If you've got more of things that rely on those ceremonial dice, you might have more, maybe 6 and 4 would be the split that's the best for you, right? Or you might splash a 3rd color in there even.
And I've seen people do crazy things like have 1 copy of a single dice just because they want the power, they want the dice ability, or they have a single card that needs that dice to work.
Yeah.
That's where illusion magic's important, right? Just slide it over. All right, so this has been Rodney from Watch It Played. Thank you so much for taking the time to do
Always a
this with
pleasure.
us.
Yeah.
Check out his channel. And Rodney, give us like a quick pitch on what is the Watch It Played channel all about.
Certainly. So Watch It Played is a channel where you can come and you can learn how games are played. We do a full instructional video for the game. So if you'd like to skip the rule book, or maybe you're having some trouble with the rule book, you can watch the video and we'll walk you exactly through how to play. And then based on the game, some games we'll actually do a full playthrough of as well. Like Ash, you can watch me and my son play a game. So you can see how it all comes together. And my hope with the channel is that if it's a game you haven't picked up, then hopefully you can learn whether or not it'd be a good fit for you. And if it is one you picked up, then hopefully it's a little easier to get into it and start playing, right?
Okay. Rodney, hey, thank you so much.
My pleasure, Steven. Right
Killer
on.
channel. Rodney's doing great things for the industry, so go check him out. And we have tons more Ashes coverage coming, not only from Ashes Weekend, but just across the entire world of Ashes. So stay tuned, and we'll see you then.